Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to discuss the Mullerian duct anomalies. The topic is little bit confusing as we have multiple classification systems developed for these Mullerian duct anomalies. So let's start with the very first classification that was given by the American Fertility Society. Okay. Actually, this society classified the uterine malformations into 7 classes. The class 1 was hypoplasia or agenesis, class 2 was unicornuate, class 3 was didelphys, 4 was bicornuate, 5 was septate, 6 was arcuate, and 7 was drug related. Okay, minded, septate is the most common Mullerian duct anomaly. Here I'm not going to tell about each of these classes in detail, but we will discuss this in subsequent time. Here just know about this DES drug related. Actually what happens when the pregnant woman is exposed to DES, that is diethyl stilbestrol drug in the first trimester, then what the offspring of this woman suffers is the exposed uterus. What we get here is the narrowing and irregular endometrial cavity with constriction bands, that is known as the T configuration. The uterus is a small, hypoplastic. The fallopian tubes suffer from stenosis, saculations, and shortening. And minded, this drug related uterine anomalies are not associated with urinary tract abnormalities. Okay, so to better categorize these anomalies into various classes, the basic 3 points which is the basis of whole this classification are the 3 points. That's the external indentation, okay, then the internal indentation, and the uterine wall thickness. Okay, we will know the significance of all these 3 terms in subsequent time. So the main reference is the horizontal line, which is the interstitial or the interosteal line. That this here is the interosteal or the interstitial line, which is formed by joining the uterine ostia of the fallopian tubes in the mid-coronal plane of uterus. Okay, so this is the interosteal or the interstitial line. Then then another line that passes through the uppermost part of the uterine fundus. Then the distance between these 2 lines is actually the uterine wall thickness. Okay, and another line is drawn that is passing through the uppermost border of this endometrial lining. Okay, so this is another line, and the distance between this interosteal line and this line is actually the internal indentation. Okay, and then what's the external indentation? External indentation is the depth. Now see, like I'm making this uterus, the fundus is slightly dipped. Okay, then we join this interosteal line. This is the interosteal line which is passing through the uterine ostia of the fundus. Then this dip in the midline is actually the external indentation. This is the external indentation. Okay, so we have understood the external indentation means we are talking about the fundal contour. Okay, we are talking about the external fundal contour. By talking about the internal indentation, we are talking about this endometrial lining. What is the depth here? Okay, This is the internal indentation, and uterine wall thickness is actually used in another system of classification we will discuss subsequently. We are going to utilize this three information of external indentation, internal indentation, and the uterine wall thickness. Okay. Remember, external indentation, by this we mean the fundal contour, the external fundal contour, and by the internal indentation we are talking about the endometrial lining. This is the two basic concept you have to remember for accurately classifying this Mullerian duct anomalies. Okay. So just let's look at these pictures one by one. So look at the first image. Okay, see the first image. The external fundal contour is absolutely normal. That can be that is usually convex, or it can be flat. Okay, so this is absolutely normal. There is no external indentation. The fundal contour is normal. Next, what is this? Is the internal indentation. See, this is the endometrial lining. Okay, this is the endometrial lining, and there is this dip. How to measure this dip? By a imaginary line drawing from the ostia of the bilateral fallopian tubes. So there is some dip in the endometrial lining. There is some dip there is internal indentation of the internal indentation of endometrial lining, and this here in this case is less than 1 centimeter. Okay, and this angle, okay, and this angle is actually it's the, see this angle, okay, this angle is greater than 90 degree. Okay, this is absolutely normal, or it can be found in arcuate uterus. Okay, so the corresponding axial T2 weighted MR image showing the same thing. The external fundal contour is absolutely normal, and when we draw the interosteal line, there is some dip. Okay, there is some dip which is less than 1 centimeter, and the angle of indentation is more than 90 degree. This is normal or can be arcuate uterus. Okay, the next picture is see, the external fundal contour is again absolutely normal, but what we can see, there is more internal indentation. Here the internal indentation is actually more than 1 centimeter, and this angle is less than 90 degree. This is typical of septate uterus. Okay, septate uterus, which can be either partial or it can be complete with the septa extending up to the cervix also. In the corresponding axial T2 MR image, we can see the same thing, that the external fundal contour, what we can say, is flat. There is no abnormal dip in the fundus, that is the external contour is normal, but there is this internal indentation which is more than 1 centimeter, and this angle is less than 90 degree, typical for the septate uterus. Okay, next what we can see, there is this abnormal external contour. There is external indentation. The fundal contour is abnormal, as well as there is this internal indentation also. Okay, when the external uterine fundal indentation is greater than 1 centimeter, okay, the external fundal contour is also abnormal. This is typical of bicornuate uterus. Okay, so we learned in the normal arcuate uterus, the external contour is absolutely normal, and the internal indentation is less than 1 centimeter with angle of more than 90 degrees, septate more than 1 centimeter, less than 90 degree, and bicornuate has abnormal external contour also. Okay. Next, see these images again. Okay, see these images. So in the first image, the external fundal contour is normal, but there is this dip, this dip in the internal indentation. Okay, so this is definitely septate uterus, and as we can see, the septa is long way. This is a case of complete septate uterus. Next is this case, the fundal contour is again normal, but there is this internal indentation and the septa is here in this part only. So this is the partial septate uterus. Okay, and the third image, the external contour is absolutely normal, and there is slight dip in the internal indentation, can be of normal variety. Okay. So next is the let's see next images. Okay, so here what we can see is there are two separate unicornuate uterine cavities as well as a double cervix. Okay, so this is a case of a uterine didelphys. Okay, didelphys. Okay, next see another this picture. There is this abnormal fundal contour also and abnormal indentation also. Okay, so this is a case of bicornuate uterus. So what we learned, that the basis is only two things: the external indentation, which is found in the bicornuate uterus, and the internal indentation, which is found in the septate uterus. Didelphys is totally a separate entity where there are two separate unicornuate uterine cavities with two cervix. Okay,